Hello, everybody, and welcome to the May 15th, 2018 edition of the Ephrom Josine Show. I am your host, Ephrom Josine. So, a few months ago, everybody knows about the massacre that took place in Florida. Well, it seems like the neighboring state, Georgia, didn't really affect anything politically. And when you consider that, let me show you some proof of that. You see, last week, I was debating on whether or not showing you the Don Blankenship ad I showed on the show, or another campaign ad from another Republican by the name of Brian Kemp. If you do not know, Brian Kemp is currently a Republican running for governor of Georgia. And his ad may be even more amazing than Blankenship's. Essentially, the whole plot is, I'm not kidding, he is pointing a gun to this kid named Jake. If you're wondering why he's doing that, it is because Jake is trying to date his daughter. Here's what Kemp said. Jake asked me why I was running for governor. And then, of course, Jake had to list off the reasons from memory. Otherwise he may not live a little longer. Those reasons being, cap government spending, take a chainsaw to regulation, and make Georgia #1 for small businesses. And if you want to date Brian Kemp's daughter, and based on the amazing portrayal of her father, I don't see why you wouldn't, you're going to need, according to Jake, respect and a healthy appreciation for the Second Amendment. God. How much you want to bet he's going to win? But it gets better if you are Brian Kemp. You see, recently he released what I can only call the most Republican campaign ad of all time, in which he made a few things clear. First off, he is so conservative, he literally blows up government spending. And by that I mean there's explosions of government spending. Wait, I don't think that means what Brian Kemp thinks it means. Although that would actually be accurate with reality. He has a gun that no one is taking away. Just in case you thought he was going to let them. He has a chainsaw specifically to slash government regulations. Now that's going to be interesting to watch. He's just going to appear in front of the Florida Congress just with a chainsaw to a regulatory bill, and then it's going to be repealed because that's how it works. And he has a truck, so he can personally deport all the illegals. What? Ignore the fact the governor has no say over the border because this is a Republican campaign. We can't really tell the truth here. Now, to Brian Kemp, I just want to say, you have a long, successful career ahead of you as a Republican politician. I even think he may be the president one day if we're not careful. Brian, you truly are an inspiration to all patriots. Our next story comes from Candace Owens, aka one of the head directors of Turning Point USA. You know, that college conservative group that complains that there aren't enough conservatives on colleges. She did this on May 9th. One email, one phone call, and I am now putting together a legal fund to go after publications that think they can smear and libel black conservatives who dare to think for themselves. Hello, everyone. I'm individual number 587B of the Individual Collective. Do you guys remember Gawker? Yeah, me neither. Then how did you remember it well enough to post about? To remind everyone it existed. So, essentially, Candace Owens' genius plan to have free speech is to create a legal group that makes sure that we can destroy people's lives because they call black people names they don't like. That's how we're going to defeat those liberal snowflakes. It's amazing when you think about it. And now, to end the show, I think it's fair that we head back to Israel, which we covered yesterday, as, of course, there was an article on Louder with Crowder about it. The article in question is called, "Okay, Leftists, Stop Equating Meanness with Moral Wrongs." Wait. Oh no. A title that smug means it can only be written by Courtney Krishoff, of course. The main writer of Louder with Crowder. Does Steve even write things on Crowder anymore, or does he just deal with the show? Of course, like everything else Courtney has written that we've covered on this show, it's just awful. Today, the American embassy from Israel moved to Jerusalem, which America promised 23 years ago but never fulfilled. Yeah, didn't Barack Obama also promise to do government reforms to health care? Didn't hear any of you guys saying that until then. Or back then, not until then. Until now, the move inspired you... Bleh. The move inspired you perpetually angry trolls to raise your pitchforks 3 inches higher. Yeah, this one is specifically meant towards liberals. Jerusalem has always been the capital of Israel, not just in the 20th century following World War II, but in the centuries long before. Back when Jesus shamelessly imported Atlantic fowl to impress his disciples. Yes, because that's how we should live modern life by. The Bible, which is exactly what a secular nation was meant for. But don't worry, Courtney has finally figured out what us leftists think. According to her, here's what we think. Quote, "It's not nice to have a wall. It is mean to have 3-hour pat-downs at an airport. Ergo, anyone engaging in this behavior is mean." Well, you know, that and permanent occupation and blockades that block humanitarian aid and, you know, all of that stuff that actually makes it near impossible. Oh, and bombing hospitals. Don't forget that one. It's actually funny, by the way, because later in the article, Courtney mocks the idea of Israel giving the Palestinians, at the very least, the entirety of the Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, the Gaza Strip, at least as of 2013, it may have gotten even smaller since then, has 3 times the population of the District of Columbia, but is only twice as big. And as such, there's basically nowhere for them to put things like hospitals or schools. So, you know, when the terrorists get a little too close and the bombs start dropping, here's some more. You think it's mean that Israelis take back territory from Palestine, even after Palestine uses said territory to fire rockets into Israel like it's the 4th of July? So, I guess then Syria can annex Israel, considering how the day the Iran deal was canceled, Israel fired missiles into Syria. And despite what Crowder will tell you, it's not self-defense, or this website will tell you it is not self-defense, because Israel fired first. And I know because I covered the stories of them firing a day before any of the stories Courtney cited her article saying it was self-defense that we read on this show even came into existence. I figured I should end this show by saying I have a new column coming out tomorrow on Israel. I'd recommend checking that out. It's ephromjosine.blogspot.com, and that is it. I am Ephrom, and good night. Yeah, sorry about the length of this episode. It was a slow news day today.